Welcome to the ThunderCast, your Marshall Athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hugnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose.
Thank you for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast, and this is the 6th in a series that we started this year, getting to know our opponents. And this week we have the Monarchists from ODU, as they're going to help us with getting to know ODU. We've got Mike, we've got Aaron. Guys, welcome to the ThunderCast. It's not your first time on here. People are familiar with you guys. But welcome yet again, and I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you for having us back.
Yep. Glad to be here, Russ. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, and we're about to be even better after we get to know you guys and your team, because you guys are making the trip, you two individually, not just the team. And Justice from the G5 Hive is coming with you, so it's going to be a good time this weekend. We're going to do some tailgating. You guys are going to make your first ever road trip to Marshall and Huntington, West Virginia. And we're going to make sure to roll out that Kelly green carpet of hospitality for you guys. Guys, before we get into anything, I've got to get a word from our sponsor at Leasure Oliver PLLC. If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com. All right, so the way I usually go with this, and I know you guys have cheated. You've watched the first 5 episodes, and you know what the first question is going to be. I can just feel it in my bones that you guys watch every minute of the content that we put out. But all joking aside, I do it differently on this, and I ask a question that's usually reserved for the very end. I ask it up front. But I cheated, and I watched your episode, so I already know what some of this answer might be. But we're going to start out with, give me a score prediction. I'm going to hit up Mike, and then Aaron, while Mike's talking, I already know that you didn't give an actual prediction, but I'm going to hold your feet to the fire here and not just give a point spread, but get an actual prediction.
I'm a little worried about Carlos Del Rio Wilson and his ability to make plays with his feet and through the air. However, I'm very confident in this defense and this offense and the way it's clicking right now. So I think it's going to be a score of 36-21. I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer than that, but ultimately I think Old Dominion will win this game.
All right. And Aaron?
I, too, did not give a score on our show. And I agree with Mike, but I think that there's just too many. This is the anomaly from what we've had playing you guys over the course of whatever 10 games that we played, 9 games, is I think right now this team just has too many weapons on both sides of the ball. Ultimately, I think in the second half, Old Dominion is able to take over this game, and we probably win, something, I don't know, 17 points is what I'm thinking.
But an actual score. I want an actual, give me something.
I don't even,
This isn't your show, so you're not going to jinx anything.
37-20. Don't even know if that's possible.
It's possible.
Football math.
Yeah, it's as long as it wasn't 1-0, it was possible. All right, so now we know the score, the spread that you guys. Now we're going to work backwards and try to see how you arrived at that. And we're going to talk first about the coaching staff. I want to know about Coach Ricky Ronnie and him with this season. And then also your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator.
Well, we'll start with Ricky. This is he's kind of been entering the season. A lot of fans had him on the hot seat because he has not had a winning season yet at Old Dominion. However, fans that kind of paid more attention and looked a little bit deeper understood the issues he's been dealing with. So, first year he's here is COVID. Virginia puts a bunch of restrictions on us, and we can't even meet as a team or even practice as a team. So Conference USA forces us into a decision while that is undergoing, and we really have no choice, but we can't play that year. However, that is going to hurt any program to not play a whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have we're playing 2 P4s every year, and then usually like a Liberty or ECU is one of our non-conference games. We rarely play an FCS. I think this year is like the second FCS that Ricky's got to play. So every year he's got a stacked schedule. And then you have the Sun Belt East, which is a gauntlet. So for us, I always kind of focus more on his Sun Belt record. And if you look at that over the last 3 years, it's been pretty good, very competitive. And we got into this whole thing of one-score games where I think we've led the country in one-score games over the last 2 years, leading into this season. But I've been real patient with him because of his, like, I see those signs and those issues he's been going through. And this is the culmination of all that hard work that he's put into this program and his mentality of going 1-0 and everything you do. You can see it on this team this year. Anyone, like down to the practice squad guys, those guys are pushing these guys to get better every day. And going into the OC, Kevin Decker, this is his 3rd year here. But Colton Joseph is really the first quarterback we've had that had all the skill sets needed to run his Tennessee wide splits offense. And we hadn't really had the receivers either until this season. You need some big body receivers that can win some balls up in the air. Before this year, I think we had one guy over 6 feet tall. The class they brought in like 7 guys, and only one was less than 6 feet tall. Most of them were like 6'3", 6'4". So this is he completely changed how this offense looks this offseason, and it's paying dividends. I'll let Aaron talk about Coach Seiler because he's a dog.
Yeah, I mean, as well as the offense is playing, the defense is playing just as well. And Coach Seiler, Blake Seiler, he's been killing it. I mean, for many years, Old Dominion never had a defense. Often joked as no DU. We won games by scoring 50 points back in the Taylor Heineke days. But Blake Seiler has been able to come in and build a consistent defense no matter how many student athletes have been poached, especially in the last couple of years when the portal really ramping up, NIL becoming a big thing. And not just with himself, but the coaches behind him that he's got to come in. I know in our episode, Mike really singled out Remington Redstock with our safeties. Like every year, our the whole back of our defense just seems to disappear. Jerron Manning, everybody who pays attention to Sunbelt football knew Jerron last year. He's not here. There's a big concern, and arguably the strongest part of our defense have been those safeties and corners. Right now, I think we could argue that this is the most complete team that Old Dominion has ever had. I don't know what you think, Mike, but I mean, pick your poison. It's as what Tim Beck said, feed the monster. I mean, right now, ODU's clicking on firing on all cylinders, and there's just so many options. It's really, really fun to watch.
Well, we're going to talk about that offense and Colton Joseph first. Let's talk about the offense and what you guys have been able to do so far this year. I'd like to hear about Colton Joseph, of course. Feel like he is kind of the driver of that offense, but you got weapons in the backfield. You got weapons in the receiving game. And let's hear about your offensive line too.
Well, I'm going to start with the offensive line because for me, it all starts up front. This is a veteran group. We had 4 returning starters on this O-line. And then we brought in Ryan Joyce, who's in his 7th year of football, all-conference player from Fordham. He's just kind of held it down at center. and gave them someone who can maul up front. And then at the tackles, you have Stephon DeBose-Bourne. He's been here since high school. He's the rare guy that comes to ODU and stays for all years until he graduates. On the left tackle is Zach Barlev. He transferred in last year from Illinois, and he's kind of just been like this glue piece for us, a leader for that group that's kind of set the energy and the expectation for what he expects out of himself and the rest of the offensive linemen. And then the two guards, Skylar Grant, who came here as a walk-on and earned his job, his role as a starter over lots of hard work. He's a fifth-year senior, just kind of grind his way into this role, and he's considered one of the hardest workers on the team. And then you got Martin Woodsma, another guy he's only played Old Dominion. Like, this is a group that's pretty rare to see, that most of the guys on the unit have never played anywhere else, and they're all seniors or upperclassmen. But it all starts with Zach Barlev at left tackle. I mean, that guy's a really talented left tackle that sets the edge really well and has allowed us to run the ball extremely well. Aaron, if you want to go into
that's a nice segue, because I'm thinking running backs. I mean, before I jump into that, I think that's a testament to the culture that Ricky and his staff are building, that those guys want to stick around. And then even the guys who transfer in, like Zach. Zach came in last year. He played well. He had opportunities to go other places, but he wanted to stay here because they've just got such a great thing going. But obviously, they're blocking for those running backs. There are four options that are great options. The number one right now is Traquan Jones. He's been super dynamic. Anyone that's watched any Old Dominion football this year has got a plethora of highlights. He's averaging almost 9.5 yards per carry. Catravian Hargrove, Bull Hargrove, he's got about half the amount of carries that Traquan has. But last week, you saw his explosiveness, catching a jump pass and going, would he go like 80 yards or something like that, Mike? And then you've got Markai James and you've got Devin Roche. Devin was the only guy of those four that was with the team before. But any of those four guys are super impact players. And, oh, by the way, from a rushing perspective, Colton Joseph has 52 rushes for 433 yards, averaging over 8 yards per carry. So this rushing attack it's dynamic, it's consistent, almost 7 yards per carry, puts us in good positions where we don't have a ton of third and longs.
Yeah, and right now, you mentioned it, 6.8 yards as a team per carry. 6.8 yards per carry as a team. And running the ball about 58.2% of the time, so rush heavy, but it's not like you can't pass. So let's talk about this passing game with the quarterback and the receiving crew.
So this offseason, we had a complete rebuild of the receiver room, as I mentioned earlier. Our leading returner was a true freshman coming back, Naeem Gladding. They call him AR. He's been fantastic this season. He's one of our top three receivers. But coming in, he had, I think, like 2 catches. It wasn't a lot last year. So we didn't really know what we were expecting, but they hit the JUCO ranks really hard and found some real studs. Trey Brown and Ja'Cory Thomas were both up for JUCO Receiver of the Year last year, and they both played against each other in the JUCO National Championship game, and they're two of our best receivers this year. Both are rangy, quick receivers, both 6'2" or 6'3". They can give you problems, but if you got them locked down, you got to worry about AR. Those top three, I think I looked on PFF earlier this week. Naeem is rated number 1 on PFF in the Sun Belt. Ja'Cory is number 2, and Trey Brown is 8. To have 3 of the best receivers in the conference says a lot about our offense, and it's allowed Colton Joseph's maturation process to continue forward, because even if he makes a bad throw, these guys can bail him out, and they've done that throughout the season. But the one thing I've seen from Colton, he has matured a lot this year. So he had a tendency to either give up on a play and just run, and just lean on his feet last year. Maybe not the best decision. Or he would throw into double or triple coverage, trying to force things to happen. Kind of earning him his nickname of Cowboy because, playing like a gunslinger. This year, if you watch him, he'll move in the pocket when it breaks down. He keeps his head and his eyes forward. And he's finding a lot of guys while he scrambles.
Yeah, and let's talk about that big play that made all the Twitter highlights and all the other highlights with looked like a quarterback run, but he just kind of does a little jump touch pass to a streaking Hargrove, the running back, and he took it 80 yards, like Aaron mentioned there. Dangerous offense, if I had to say.
So go ahead, Mike.
So that play we ran last year with tight ends. We had really good receiving tight ends last year. I think we have talented tight ends this year. However, we just haven't kind of figured it out yet. I think we're using them more as blockers right now. But that play was beautiful. Hargrove's in the backfield. Sets up like he's going to block for Colton. But he runs right through the O-line as fast, like just streaks through it. I don't know how he goes through there untouched, but completely unnoticed. Colton takes a couple steps like he's going to run a QB draw, sucks those linebackers in, and there's nothing in front of Contravion. He just drops it off to him, and he's gone.
Yeah.
It's beautiful play design and execution.
Yeah, right now you guys are top 10 offense in the country as far as yards per game. I think it's right at 10. I don't have the stats in front of me. I looked some up in preparation for something that we're doing later on in the week for our preview, but I'm fairly certain it's 10th in the country in yards, right at 500. I think it's 498.2, 498 even, something like that. So obviously this is a dynamic offense. You've got 11 different receivers, including running backs and tight ends that have caught a pass. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them averaging double figures yards per reception. And then we already talked about 6.8 yards on the ground as a team. 9.4, 8.3, your top running back and your quarterback. So very, very dangerous offense. Now let's talk about this defense, because it has not just been all offense, outscore everybody. You've got a very good defense, and I think it was 189 total yards the last game that you gave up against Coastal. So let's talk about the defense. I want to know about the scheme that you'll be in. Then tell us about the defensive line, linebackers, and your defensive backs.
So Old Dominion runs a 3-3-5 defense. However, I don't know. He's changed it up a little bit this year, and he's going a little bit more multiple. We have some guys that can flex to different positions. So it's allowed us some more flexibility to maybe we'll put in 4 linebackers at times. Maybe we'll have 6 safeties or 6 in the secondary. It's been a lot more multiple and kind of confusing to the quarterback, but also he's doing a lot more blitzing than in years past. And that's crucial because in a 3-3-5, you only have 3 defensive linemen going against 5-0 linemen and probably a running back or a tight end. So you don't have the numbers. So you have to create those numbers by either mixing up the blitzes from the safeties or the linebackers. And we've done a really good job of that because we've run this defense for a while, and we've never really generated the type of pressure that we have this year. I'll let Aaron go and talk about a couple of his players that he loves.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll talk more in generality and let Mike get real specific. But I think the biggest thing for me with this defense this year, as compared to what we've had the last couple, is a lot of the criticism of this defense in the past is that we weren't able to generate enough pressure in general, and quarterbacks are too comfortable. This year, we've been able to do more of that than we have in the past. I mean, we've got 14 sacks at this point, and they're kind of coming from all over the place. But not only that, but we're forcing the quarterbacks and other players to make mistakes. We've got 5 interceptions. We've forced 7 fumbles. We've recovered 6 of them, I think. So when there's opportunities, like in the last game, Mario Easterly made a really nice catch, converting on an interception. We're seizing the opportunity a lot of times on those where we may not have kind of followed through. So instead of being, we're not necessarily winning the time of possession. That hasn't been a hallmark of this team, but it's much more balanced than it has been in years past. Some of it because the defense continues to really play well. A lot of it going back to the offense of being able to consistently not just go 3 and out and have a real balanced attack there. I guess if I was forced to talk about there's a lot of guys that be favorites. Obviously, the easy place to talk about is the linebacking core. So as we talked about leading up to the season, the linebackers as a group were going to be the strongest part, arguably, of this defense. They're one of the best linebacking cores in the country, certainly for G5, arguably all of college football. And a lot of that was predicated on Jason Henderson was returning, Koa Natala was returning, and all the rest of the group with some talented freshmen. Well, Jason played 1 game and he retired. Koa's pretty much been out the entire season. It's been next man up, and the other guys and the young guys, the freshmen. Mike, you know better than me, but they haven't missed a beat. We have not seen that position underperform what we thought they would be. Like if we took the uniform numbers off it and we just looked at the stats, we would assume that Jason and Koa were playing. At least I would.
Yeah, a couple of guys, the linebacker that have stepped up this year have been really crucial. Keyshawn Thomas is one of those guys. He wears number 1. Another guy you're going to want to watch out for is Jackson Forrest. He's a true freshman, and he looks like a veteran the way he's playing. He's really quite talented in coverage as well. And then Jalil Colbreth, who is a returning starter. He's been one of the only healthy linebackers this year that's a returning starter. But Mario Thompson should be back this week. He played a little bit last week, and he's a 2-year returning starter. So there's some real talent in that linebacking room. In the secondary, the guy that's impressed me the most is in his 2nd year, Jerome Carter. He is just making plays all over the field. Another guy you want to look out for is Mario Easterly. He's kind of the leader of this defense, I think, along with Jalil and Koa. But he had an interception last game. He's making big hits all over the field. I could go on. I could talk about his defense for a while. They've made some really good pickups this offseason. My favorite is probably Nikendre Steiger. He's a little guy in the secondary, but he will come up and blow a play up. He laid a good one against Liberty. I don't know. I like this defense a lot because it's kind of like that no-name defense where everyone's kind of doing a little bit of everything, and all of it together is making it work.
Seems like you guys still have what you've had the last several years, a swarming, gang-tackling defense that even with Jason Henderson's gaudy tackling stats, a lot of those were assists with other people. So it wasn't like you had one guy that was just a tackling machine and nobody else really doing anything. It's like the whole defense from an outsider's perspective. It's like, and I mean this in a good way, that everyone is swarming to the ball and you got a lot of gang tackling. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
I would. I would also say this offseason, what's made this defense even better is the amount of team speed we've either added or built into the team. Like we talked to Mario. The first thing we asked him, what was your biggest target this year for your offseason? And he goes, I wanted to get faster. So he worked on his shuttle. He said he picked up some seconds in his shuttle run. Jaleel Cobra said the same thing. Like almost everyone you talk to, they were focused on getting stronger or faster. And it's evident in how they're playing.
All right. So you mentioned 3-3-5. Marshall also runs a 3-3-5, so we're familiar with it. You mentioned blitzing coming, disguising where it's coming from and everything. If you had to do an over-under percentage, this is so difficult, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you say about trying to get pressure on the quarterback? I know that's a highlight that you mentioned on your show. So what would you say here on an over-under of 20% of the defensive plays that you would try to be blitzing? Over or under?
Well, we could look at PFF and get the real number, but I don't know. It's tough to say. I think it's really about circumstances because at its heart, the 3-3-5 is really a bend don't break defense, and it's why we've been like one of the worst teams in time of possession the last few years. Our offense stunk and couldn't stay on the field, and our defense allowed teams to kind of march down the field, and then we would kind of bow up in the red zone and either force turnovers or force you to kick a field goal. This year is a little bit different because we're getting off the field, and I think it's really about how successful we are on first down because that kind of that will lead to how you play on second down. Like if you shut them down with a short run on first down or force an incompletion, now you're in second and long and you're throwing probably, right? Like it changes the whole that whole sequence of plays. And we've seen that this year. Our success on first down has kind of allowed us to blitz more often and force the other teams into really bad situations on third down.
All right, so we've talked about offense. We've talked about defense. Now we're going to talk about special teams. I'd like to hear about your kicker, give it kind of a range and accuracy, your punter, how well you can flip the field, and any returners that we need to be watching for.
I don't know if we can really talk about the punter. We haven't really had to use him much.
Probably less than 5 punts this season.
Really?
I'd have to look at
He got a lot of work in Indiana, and that's about it.
That's true. Probably, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I mean, from a place kicker perspective, the guy's Riley Callahan. I mean, he's perfect on extra points. He's had a lot of opportunities. Had 23 opportunities, converted them all. Field goals, he's had 9 opportunities. He's made 2/3 of those. He's been perfect under 30. He's got a leg. He's got a long of 50 yards, but he's been a little bit more consistent. I know one of those misses was in the Liberty game with the weather and a kind of a bad snap. But I mean, I think the jury's still out kind of there, but he's been playing. I think he's definitely been playing well enough to win us games. And I am pretty sure that Ricky's got a high level of confidence that he can make a clutch kick from distance if he needs him to.
And Ian Brandt, he's been pretty good. The one thing he's really good at is making sure he does not outkick his coverage. And he's pretty good at pinning you inside the 20. I think he's kicked 16 times this year. He's only got 5 returns. Okay. So he's doing a good job of making sure it's a fair catch. And wherever you catch it, you're really not doing anything with it.
Okay. Return guys?
I mean, we haven't seen anything real crazy this year like in years past where I think, Mark I was returning, I think, last week. I don't know. We haven't seen any explosive plays there yet, but I
don't think anyone's put us in a position to have an explosive. I mean, you got a lot of teams are kicking it through the end zone these days, making sure you can't really do anything with it. But Mark I, Mario Easterly, they've kind of rotated some guys through there, trying to just give other guys opportunities and give breaks to some of these guys because, like, a Mario is on the field for almost every defensive play. Mm-hmm. So you don't want him out there all the time. But opportunity matters. And I'm not sure we've had the real opportunity to really.
What about punt
We
returns?
have 5 opportunities all season, only 5
on kickoffs, though, right?
Yeah.
What about punt returns? Because you guys have been punted to quite a bit.
I mean, Devin Roche and AR that Mike was talking about are returning our kicks. Averaging 9-ish yards.
Okay.
So picking up a little bit there. We haven't had anything. No one's broke anything for a touchdown, but
nothing really noteworthy so far this season.
Yeah.
All right. So now we've talked about the coaches. We've talked about the offense. We've talked about the defense. We've talked about the special teams. You guys way back when gave your score predictions. So, I feel like now we've gotten to know more about ODU, and our fans that are watching and listening to this will be a little more comfortable knowing what to expect coming into this game. Let's talk a little bit about the trip up. It's going to be the first time for you guys coming to Huntington. It's 7.5-ish hours, somewhere around there. So it's not a quick trip. So let's talk about an over-under on fans that Marshall may see and may be welcoming to their tailgates. I'm going to start low, and I'm going to say over-under 500. Do you go over or go under?
I'm going to go under.
Under?
Me too. I'd like to say the excitement around the team would drive it, but it's a little bit of a trip.
Okay.
And next week, the game at JMU, I think people already have travel plans because it's a much easier trip. And of course, everybody knows JMU people.
And this game is also followed by 2 home games. So the people that do travel to Norfolk for games, and then they're going to the JMU game, that would be 4 weeks in a row. You'd be traveling a lot. Only sickos like us and you would do that.
Yeah, that's right. I've been to every game so far. This will be my 6th out of 6, and then next week will be 7 out of 7. And I was supposed to be going to Coastal, make it 8 out of 8, and they decided to have trick or treat on that night, and I'm not going to miss my 3 kids with trick or treat. It was going to be a tough down and back anyway for a Thursday night game, so I'm finally going to miss a game. But
I will add, Russ, our fan base, a lot of people stay in Norfolk. Like they stay in the Hampton Roads region. You see with a lot of other universities like James Madison, obviously you have to leave James Madison or Marsh. Like most of these schools like Appalachian State, you can't stay there and find a career. A lot of our alums can stay in the Hampton Roads region and build a career. So it's not like we have people displaced in like Cleveland or Cincinnati that would make the trip a lot easier. We're mostly still all in Virginia Beach and Norfolk area.
All right, so we went under 500. I'm going to now put it down to 300. Over, under 250. Is there going to be like 18 people, Aaron? How many? I mean,
we're bringing 3.
I know.
I think all the things that Mike sent there. It's just there's so many things working against.
Sure.
And it's that time too where it's college trip season where parents they've got open houses and stuff. So, I mean, I think we're probably under 250, but it'll be allowed 250.
You've got youth sports. You got a lot of stuff going on, for people that have to make a 7.5-hour trip. Plus, you already mentioned, next week's James Madison. It's a bigger game when you compare the schedules and the implications right now on what that game may be. It's a much closer game in state. So I get it. But the reason I was asking is because anyone that is making the trip that is watching, you guys have already shared our video and things, but I want anyone that's watching or listening to this, because you guys are on it, to know that they can go to pretty much any tailgate and they will be offered to stop in with great hospitality. Even though we cheer for different teams, we're going to tailgate the same way. We're all going to tailgate as friends, and they can obviously come over, say hi to you guys at the ThunderCast tailgate. So that's just why I wanted to mention. I didn't want to throw out, if there were 10,000 coming, I didn't want to tell them they could come and eat all my food at the ThunderCast tailgate.
You're going to have to order more chicken, man.
But no, guys, I look forward to it, and I look forward to seeing all your fans up there. It's going to be a great time. And as always, I feel like we now have gotten to know more about ODU. But now let's get to know about the Monarchists before I send us out here. Tell us a little bit about you guys, the entire operation that you have, and where people can find your content, including the preview that you've already put out about this Marshall game.
I don't want to bore people too much, but a few years ago, Mike's wife told us we talked too much about ODU sports, told us we should start a podcast. So we did that in March of 22. Since then, things have really kind of taken off. We've been able to build great relationships within the athletic department, within the community, with the coaches themselves. We cover football, basketball, baseball, all the Olympic sports. Mike and I focus on basketball and football and some stuff. Gary and CB do a baseball show and an Olympic roundup. So we kind of get out there for everything. You can find our stuff on YouTube. Just look for ODU Monarchists. You can find us on Twitter or X, Instagram, Facebook. ThePrideofODU.com is our website. What am I missing, Mike?
We love to do charity. So that's a big part of what we are. Upcoming against Troy, we'll be having our annual Toys for Tots drive. Every year it gets bigger and bigger. We bring out tanks from the local military bases onto campus so kids can get on there and check them out.
It's pretty cool.
Our team sets up flyovers for every game. Obviously, the military shutdown or the government shutdown has put a damper in that this year. But, we just try to give back however we can. And one of our big policies as the Monarchists is any dollar we make for our website or podcast, we try to give back to either the Toys for Tots or Old Dominion directly. And it's something we do because we care so much about where we live and the school, but also like we want to show people we're not here for the wrong reasons. Like we're not here to take money from you. We're here to give back and build.
So you got a website, you got you're on YouTube for all your video content. They can listen on Spotify, Apple, all the usual places that you can stream the audio versions. And again, social media, if you guys would plug that where you're engaging the most.
Twitter. We have a Facebook account and we use that actively, but we use an Instagram account that we're active on. But the amount of activity you're going to see the most of us is on X. I still haven't gotten used to saying that, but
I refuse to say it. The only X that I care about passed away several years ago, and it's dark and hell is hot. So that's DMX for those of you who don't know. Gerardi Mercer can tell you all about him, but go ahead.
At ODU Monarchists. It's easy to find us. I think we have the same handle everywhere, so even on YouTube.
Well, guys, thanks so much for being generous with your time. I'm looking forward to this weekend, and if you don't have anything else to say, I'm going to take us out of here. And whether you see us at the Jack, whether you see us at the Joan, or whether you see us in the C lot with Justice from G5 and Mike and Aaron from the Monarchists throwing down on a low country boil at a big old tailgate where everyone watching and listening is welcome. No matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd. It's the ThunderCast, and we'll see you in a couple of days.